I have to poop, and instead I jerk off and hold it in. My calculation, is it possible to press? Yes, we talked about that.
I mean, you guys with the brown and the white. Today's like brown and white together.
It's celebrating your return.
Oh, is
it's all for you. Welcome to Dr. Drew After Dark. Please be advised that Dr. Drew After Dark may contain sexually oriented content and be unsuitable for young children. Hey everybody, welcome to Dr. Drew After Dark. I'm very excited about today's show. Don't forget the emails at drdrewafterdark@gmail.com. And of course, the voice messages at 818-253-1693. We'll get into much of that today. But I'm so relieved to bring Christina P. back. It's such a pleasure to have you. I've missed you so much.
You so much.
I know, it's ridiculous. You guys moved away from us.
I know.
You did.
I did. I moved away from you, and then those pesky kids. My husband's been touring aggressively all year.
Aggressively. That's a great way of describing it. He is everywhere.
Psychotically. And so I've been basically a single mother this year. So it's been tricky.
So Susan and I went and visited Christina about 8 months ago or something like that, 6 months ago. And we had dinner. We had
a nice quiet dinner at my house.
And the kids were a little having trouble sleeping. They were all excited. And we went into his room, and Christina goes, yeah, come on, you guys need to settle down. And your oldest son said, shut up, cracker. Like, what? Yeah. And he kept saying it because we were all like, what? Yeah. He goes, yeah, shut up, cracker. Like, what is he talking about?
He had just learned cracker. Oh, it was from a movie.
Sandler movie.
Yeah, Sandler movie. Because he heard the word cracker. And yeah, he was telling us to shut up, you cracker. And then they were on their recliner chair pushing that over.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so now they love to dominate that thing and just it hits the floor.
That was invented that night?
Tears happen. Yeah, that was the first time they did that.
It looked like fun, actually, so good.
Yeah, I let them have a good accident on these things.
Sure.
And then it's like, okay, now we get it. Kind of, not really.
So speaking of getting it, raising boys.
Oh, my God. It is, like, I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, there's no such thing as gender difference. Like, oh, you've never raised boys. Clearly, you've never... Because they are wild.
Wild. As many moms of boys have told me, definitely not a chick thing. Some of the stuff that they're into.
All of it.
Couldn't even occur to a female.
Dick stuff alone. I've had to say the sentence, don't pee on your brother. Don't pee on, nobody touches each other's penises. Yeah, it's like, because they'll be like, touch my penis. I'm like, no. That's how problems start. Like dick fart. I get morning farts from my little one. He farts on me constantly.
Which is good. That's high comedy. Come on.
It is high comedy.
This is the Temple of Brown here. I mean, they pick up on that.
That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And if my threshold is being reached on brown talk and fart humor, like it's heavy. So yeah, they're wild. And you just have to surrender. And there's just days where you're like, this is out of control.
And this is not
out of control.
Wait till adolescence hits.
No.
Oh my God.
With dudes, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me.
We were in an airport. We were in Newark Airport a couple of days ago, and this woman came up and said hi, and she was complaining about her 14-year-old son, and he was like, "What happens to them? He was so sweet." And she goes, "It's alive down there." I go, "Yeah, it is alive. It's on at 14." It's all he can think about is his penis now.
Right. So don't they just masturbate all day and stay in their rooms, which is kind of nice.
And they get stinky, and they stop moving. They get really right when the testosterone really hits. They get kind of depressed and.
What is that? Why?
It's just what testosterone does to them. And then they get aggressive, and then you got to get them into the sports right away.
Oh yeah, yes, we do that. It's a lot of activities, and
I remember I was it happens all of a sudden too. I remember I was walking into my house and I looking down this hallway, and I'm like, who's that man in this house? And I was like, oh my God, it's my son. Shit. Oh, crap. And that was like 14 or 13 or something. It's like all of a sudden.
Well, I have a stupid question.
Okay.
So what in the body gets activated? Like how does the body just start creating testosterone? And like, what is it? What part, like your brain just switches on one day and like, guess what? We're going to mature.
This is what development is. It's much like, let's think of it this way, much like the development of the body out of a nest of cells, right?
Right.
It folds and it knows where to go, and it, each cell affects each other and communicates. that keeps happening until you're about 28. It's just a lower version of it, but it includes things like hormones turning on at a certain. It's a developmental.
Just knows it's a DNA.
It's a DNA.
thing.
It's encoded and it keeps going. Yeah, and it changes everything else once it does turn on.
Yes, and then so 28, you're physically, I would
Men.
say, and mentally a little more mature.
Men.
Yeah.
Girls are in around 22 to 24. Women.
Yeah.
So back to this.
And then you degenerate, and then now
Then you start dying.
Then you die.
Then you die
So
like
28, you have like 28 rad years, and then you're just decomposing.
Well, no, 28 years of struggling with development and freaking out and being depressed and worrying about your penis and relationships, and then you start dying.
Yeah.
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 So-
Cool. And now, now I'm approaching death, and I'm actually starting to look at people in their 60s and 70s for modeling of like, what does a good life look like? What does it look like to be 70? What's that? And I found Isabella Rossellini's Instagram.
You mean you want to look a certain way, or you want to have had a certain kind of life?
Yes, both. Aesthetically, because Madonna, who was my, you're like, that's something's going on there.
Something went off the rail.
What's going on?
I don't know, but it's not good.
It's not good.
It never has been good. Let's face it. It's just a 7-year-old version of what it's always been.
Truth.
Yeah.
And that's a woman who was known for being hot her whole life and now has to face her mortality. And I don't want to go that route. So I'm like, what are some wonderful examples of, and Paulina Poroskova, who you love and I love.
We named our daughter after her.
You're kidding.
That's where the name came from, yeah.
She's stunning. And
Stunning.
In every
and
way.
she's having to defend herself, which I hate. They're You see all that attacking? I hate it. I am so attracted to my peers.
Yeah.
People my age. I don't like 22-year-olds so much.
I
like my
know.
peers that are aging, but still have great sort of
Who kept it together.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. So I've been worrying a lot about aging lately too.
Tell me.
I went to the desert. I just showed you some footage. I went to the Wadi Rum Desert. It's going to air on Fox on January 4th.
Oh my God.
2-hour special following like NFL playoffs or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
The whole world's going to see that.
Yes, it's bad. And they came to me to do this thing in the desert with me and Mel B and Jamie Lynn Spears and Danny Amendola. It's this Mike Piazza. This big group of people came. And a bunch of gold medalists and people young and athletic. So I'm thinking, oh shit. And when they came to me, I'm like, come on, really? And then I started training for it. I had only 2 weeks. I started training, and I really started responding. I thought maybe this is what I've been looking for, because I've been plagued by diverticulitis.
Well, hold on.
Feeling
Training
old.
for what? Because I don't think we
Training
said.
to go to the desert to train as a special ops recruit, as a Navy SEAL recruit.
So cool.
Full on Navy
So
SEALs.
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
You're superhuman. I mean, that's a very elite group, no? Like the attrition rate is so high.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
You don't make it.
That's one of the things I wanted to do, was shine a light on what these guys do. And oh yeah.
Gosh.
Oh yeah. They tell us things like, if you die, it's just nature's way of telling you that you failed.
Yeah.
Like, okay, tell us what to do, staff. What do we do next?
Yeah.
Jump out of a helicopter 3 stories over the Red Sea.
But can you imagine the feeling of immortality and like, hey, I can conquer anything.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking special ops guy.
So, right. And a full respect for those guys. I saw what they do. I can't do it. And not only that,
way.
I think my whininess, my wife Susan was saying that I was getting whiny. And I think the whiny was kind of a denial.
Tell me about it.
Like
Denial.
Denial of aging. Like I pushed myself to the limit on this project. You will see. Things don't go so great for me. And I got it. I do have limitations because of my present age. Clear as a bell. I get it. And I'm so happy to be where I'm at and not worse. I've got a lot of good stuff going on. I could go to the desert and jump off helicopters and things and do
you're
good
still,
at it.
Like you're in excellent
health.
health.
Still good. Well, I'm in good shape. Health is kind of an relative term. I'm hypertensive.
Right.
I'm hypercholesterolemic. I've got fucking diverticulitis and prostate cancer and shit. But I'm managing all those things very, very, very effectively. So it's a good case to stay on top of your medical problems.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
It is. I do.
Okay.
Don't point your. What are you wagging your finger at me for?
I'm just having a flashback to you as, I don't know why this is in my head, but you as Nadia, best costume I ever saw.
Yeah, thank you.
I love her.
I love what we do in the shadows. I mean, we've talked about the show.
We was just getting started when we were talking about it. So we're like 3 seasons in now.
Well, and Frankie Quinones, a friend of mine, just did a guest spot on it. And I was like, I'm such a fan of Frankie and the whole thing. And I was just like, oh, this is a marriage of my 2 favorite worlds.
If there's a way we can beg, borrow, or steal our way onto some sort of cameo up there. Yeah, something just dressed up as a vampire and sit at the table at Notch's Club or something. Oh my God.
I mean, there are just so few goth comedies these days.
There are few. That's
There's
the only one.
5, yeah.
There are 5?
Well, it's like The Munsters wasn't like the OG goth comedy.
Is that?
The Addams Family is a goth comedy. Really, when you think about it.
I did not put it in that context, but yes, of course.
I love all these, dark themed comedies my whole life. I'm trying to think, Dark Shadows was actually kind of a comedy in a way. Yeah. It was like so ridiculous.
Over the top, yeah.
That's it.
So Halloween's your jam.
It is my jam. Every day is Halloween, to quote Ministry. I have a room in my house where I used to have an office like every dignified human. And then I was like, when do I ever sit at a desk to write jokes? Like never.
Right.
I'm like, I want a room that's goth mom. And I transformed a room in the house to goth mom. And it's all the shit that I've loved my whole life, but I've been afraid to admit to. And I get weird and I listen to Bauhaus and I write stuff that I like. Because that's, I think, another function of aging or being mature. You're like, I don't care. You
stop caring so much.
I like, like you like, I like opera.
Yeah.
I'm
musical comedies.
Oh my God.
From the 70s, 60s. I mean, can I be gayer? Could I be more gay? I didn't even realize. I was singing that at your birthday. I was singing that stuff in that room. You didn't get to hear it, but that's the stuff I was singing.
But I've heard about it. People were talking about it for months.
Speaking of which, I've got to do a musical thing with
Chase.
I have.
I think she would love that.
Come on, help me set that up.
For sure.
We'll just do it out on Melrose or something. Right.
So for those of you who don't know, Chase O'Donnell, my feature act, she does these great things where she'll start singing a musical, like the hills are alive.
Yeah, she does the opening sequence from Chorus Line with the full dance, everything, all the movements, and she's dancing around homeless people.
Right, like on Skid Row, and they're like, "This bitch is crazy. What's this white bitch doing?" It's the funniest thing.
Yeah. So I immediately I saw it and I thought I must do that with her.
You should do it with her.
Yeah.
Would you do like Grease? Summer
It's got to be something I
lovin'.
knew. Yeah, that's something I know. No, we'll do. You remember, I am really gay. It'd be like Oklahoma. We're like South Pacific or something. So you got to understand how gay I am.
How did you get into this? Like, who introduced you to this homosexual music?
So no one's ever asked me that. So thank you for asking. When I was 9 years old, I was at a school that went all the way through high school. And the big event of the year was the spring musical that the high school would put on. And I was a 9-year-old watching Oklahoma going, I want to do, they look like they're having a great time. I want to do that.
Can you look at images? Because I know it goes, Oklahoma is the gayest place in town. Is that how it goes?
That's exactly the words.
Get butt rimmed in Oklahoma. No. So you were 9 and you see Oklahoma. And what song is it? Like what moment?
Just that they're having such a great time up there.
It was fun and
I want
frivolous.
to be a part of it.
And big.
No, it seemed like, big in this fantasy world where everyone was happy and,
I think that's the allure to it as well, because she loves happiness and like innocent things.
And the connection with the audience who's also experiencing this sort of doy in what you're doing, that I think that was part of it. And so I watched them every year, and then I started doing them in high school, and then I was like, and then I started doing the leads in them in high school, and I was like, oh shit, I can sing. Then I started training, and I got very bored with the musicals very quickly, and I started going towards opera, and that's where that came
in
from.
High school you were training. In high school you were going to opera, or in college?
No, college, and after that. I really trained during medical school because I just needed an outlet.
To do. Yeah. And did women know this? Did you share this with other people, or was this your quiet?
It was my quiet gay pleasure.
Smart.
But I would occasionally. God, you ask good questions. I'd not thought of these things in 100 years. During medical school, this group and I would occasionally go to this restaurant called Sarno's. Sarno's?
Yeah.
It was the place where you got up and sang opera. You sang opera.
Yeah.
It was that is a pianist that could play anything.
This what?
Pianist.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one that was in Hollywood, like on the border of Laurel Canyon?
It was sort of on Vermont and Sunset.
That's old school. Okay, never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would go there and I'd sing opera.
And were your co-students, whatever, were they like,
they were like, holy shit, what's going on?
Like this guy practices? Like, did anyone catch on to your thing that you were like a closeted opera practicer?
Yeah, I don't remember, other than it was being fun, and I would go with other people that like to sing sometimes, and we'd figure out duets and stuff. I was fully
Man,
gay.
you're so gay, and I love it. And when did Susan find out about this stuff?
Early, could not give a shit, because I used to practice in my condo, and I would do it with like tapes, the music. And she'd have to suffer through that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She did not dig it.
Listen, we talk about vag dryers on Where My Mom's At.
Yeah, that did not exactly turn her on.
This is a top vag dryer.
Yeah.
I would have to say, and you're a total package. I would
think
meet
about
you.
that. Singing well in complicated, I had a good instrument and I could produce complicated Verdi arias, and that dried up a vagina.
Dry my vag. Did you practice your red leather, yellow leather?
No. I just like singing the
You just
exciting
went into
stuff.
it.
I like singing.
The Phantom of the Opera is here. Is that what it was?
That was hard for me. It was too high.
Oh, that's too high.
Yeah.
Is it Cats? Is it?
That I was singing? No, I was singing Verdi. I was singing
Okay, what is
opera.
that one? Verdi is...
Verdi is, Il Trovatore, Rigoletto, Othello.
Rigoletto.
No, it's
like that in your apartment?
Yeah.
In L.A.?
And by the way, when I did The Masked Singer, remember I did?
Yes, I do. I do.
I have a vocal problem now. I've lost my mid range. I have a varice on my chord, so it's hard for me to sing the way I used to.
Yeah.
But it'd be something on the order of Parisiamo, io la lingua e gli pugnale. Stuff like that.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Your vag good and dry?
My vag, it was
Did not
spooked.
tingle.
It was spooked.
It was scary.
It wasn't totally dry, but I was like,
I ran away off the table.
oh, what an odd hobby. I mean, I've heard of people being in all kinds of things, and that is probably one of the most bizarre things.
So my mother was an opera singer, and then my son became an opera singer. So it's sort of
it's
in
in your
our
family.
system. It's somehow it's in there. And none of us, neither I nor my son liked opera. We kind of hated it like growing up. You get bored of other stuff very quickly, and it's kind of an exciting thing to sing. So,
Wow.
So, anyway, enough of that shit.
What a life.
How do we go down that road? We started with Nadja.
Do you make Susan watch operas with you
No.
and
No.
participate in this?
No.
That would upset me if you were like, we have to go. Oh, they're playing
Occasionally-
Rigoletto.
No, occasionally I'll go,
shit.
God, I would love to go see that. She's like, I'll go to sleep. I'm boring, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, we never get to go.
Well, I have a gay thing where I really love Vince Guaraldi, the man that composed all the Charlie Brown music. I'm obsessed with Vince Guaraldi's catalog. Like I love not just the Charlie Brown stuff, but all of his other music.
He was a great jazz musician.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's so talented.
Yeah.
And so once a year here in Austin, they do a live Charlie Brown.
I've heard of this happening around the country.
And poor Tom had to suffer through. I'm just ear to ear, like I fucking love it.
Could he bring it?
He cried at Little Drummer Boy. He cried. He wept. A single tear.
See, I'm gay enough that I can let that stuff in. It doesn't have to be in my zone. I can go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're not made of Teflon. No one is. You would like it. Anybody likes it once they're there.
I am the gayest straight man in America. I swear to God.
Well, can I tell you, you're evolved because Gen Z's kind of gay. Like you may be the future.
Maybe it was the first to the table.
Males that are in touch with their feelings. That's the future. It's great.
I don't know.
Why?
I mean, being in touch with our feelings is one thing, but we also have to get shit done.
This
is what I wanted to get to.
Go ahead.
I've lived in desperate anticipation of the rational revolution. Desperate. I wanted it so badly. And it's coming. It's slowly coming. I feel like it's like rationality is you can speak rationally now and not get destroyed for it.
Well, Elon Musk just took over Twitter, which is very promising for this.
Yes, it is. And I've the excesses of COVID you're allowed to talk about now.
Yep.
And I've begun interviewing on my streaming show the people that have been silenced just to see what they have to say. And there's a lot of interesting stuff there. They should never have been silenced. Weird.
Hysteria. It was a hysterical time. And I think you're right that we're calming down. And I will say that moving to Texas, it's way less hysterical in the middle of the country in the South. The South was always like, what? I don't give a shit.
Whatever.
Who cares, man? Yeah. And so this is definitely a coasts thing because if you look at the cities that were ravaged, economically.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you're looking at Los Angeles,
schools.
San Francisco, New York City. These are juggernauts. Portland, Seattle, shredded. You go there, they're ghost towns. It's not good right now.
Yep.
Because of the ideology that was taken over. So, but I think it might change. It might change.
Not rational. Irrational.
The far lefty stuff. And look, I was a 90s liberal. I don't know what I am. I think now I'd be called conservative.
Which is so weird that the party just moved aside from you.
I'm like, okay.
I'm independent. I don't like the excesses on either side. I went back to rational, pragmatic, the stuff I've been craving since we announced the Rational Revolution. Right?
I know, but I don't know I don't know. I think it's coming. I think it's going to come when show business gets off of its high horse a bit and sets the tone. For instance, I was talking to Tim Dillon yesterday, and there's like, if you've noticed this rash of like gay movies that are out, like literally it's like bros, and they have to show on the artwork that they're gay guys. And it's like, that's so dumb. Like, why can't it just be a gay lead who just lives a life? And it's like, it doesn't have to be like hit you over the head with the identity of this person.
Correct.
So if you look at the success of somebody like Tim Dillon, who is a gay man, and it's not like the forefront of everything he does, that seems to me to be a pretty good way.
Yeah. Well, also, by the way, romantic comedies are for women.
I know. I don't want to see guys grinding dicks.
I mean, maybe there's a way to do a gay one for women.
Yeah.
But they're for women.
That's such a good... Okay, here's the rom-com for a woman and gay.
Okay, I'm ready.
It's you fall in love with your gay male best friend, and he realizes that he's not gay.
You turn him straight.
Oh, that would be the best.
You convert him. Converso.
I have the best gay friend that I grew up with. I would love it if he and I could be, not now, but back then.
Susan has been specializing in gay friends lately. She collects them, and they're awesome. They're all the best. I know. The general male is kind of... We're still pretty difficult.
Yeah, why are you guys so retarded?
We are, right?
Kind of retarded. It's not, is it societal, like...
No.
Nature, nurture, it's just...
It's a lot of biology. We're still...
primitive.
Thinking about our dicks, basically.
Well, must be leader of must do everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sighing because I've lost some of that as I've gotten older. You're talking about having a good life, right?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, it means, it's a really interesting question, right? And people don't ask that enough. They ask about happiness. But sometimes a good life is more nourishing, right?
Right.
So aging well, taking care of yourself. And I had dinner with Peter Attia a couple of days ago, and he's an expert in longevity and aging. And he said, lifelong vigorous exercise. That's the biggest thing. Lifelong vigorous exercise. Cut out carbohydrates, watch your lipids, take care of medical problems, blah, 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 blah. Vigorous exercise.
Oh, I agree. I walk in the neighborhood every day, and there's a neighbor of mine who's 71, and she has breast cancer, and she was in her last radiation treatment. But the shape that this woman was in, walking in good shape.
Yeah.
Not frail, not bent over, and she was actively fighting cancer. And you're like, wow, that's a sign of good. That's good aging.
Yes, you can get medical problems and be in good shape, and it will help you fight them.
Right.
But there's something about the good life that is a life of service and creation,
100%,
and creativity and making a difference. I always said if on my tombstone it said he made a difference, I'd be pretty happy with that.
And I think you have. My goodness, if you look at your career,
I hope so. And it's weird. Again, I don't know where to stop. I don't know quite. You know what I mean? I don't know how to wrap it up. I don't want to.
Do you have to wrap it up yet?
I don't.
I don't think you have.
You're
nowhere
I was just
near.
in the fucking Wadi Rum Desert.
Yeah,
dude.
you're nowhere. But you're nowhere
Jordan.
near wrapping it up. What are you talking about?
I know. I don't know when that would. The point is, I don't know what you start thinking about that stuff, and I don't know when or where that would even be. I don't know what that would look like for me. I worry about that because I don't want to be past my utility.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is you start the things I never thought I would do, which it happened all of a sudden. It's like, what's going on with these kids?
Yeah.
It's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And there is an awful lot of that. The stuff that they're into, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get pronouns. I don't get why that's important.
We'll never get pronouns, man.
Is that part of the rational revolution?
I don't think I'll ever fully grasp that horse shit because it's too fluid and there's no basis. It's like, well, today I feel blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Good.
I mean, I feel
for you.
I feel a little more masculine today.
Good.
Does that mean that I force everyone around me to
Right.
address me as sir. I
That's
don't
the
know.
problem.
Does that really make sense? Or can I just quietly feel masculine? I don't know what the necessity of declaration.
Why
the
does it have to be impinged on everybody else, imposed on everybody
Yes.
else? Yeah.
And I think too, there's something to be said about the quietness of the blessing that you and I had of being weird anonymously. I mean, I dressed like Robert Smith from The Cure for a good decade.
You had Widow, and I had Verdi.
Right. I mean, I was, French and girls in college, but was I non-binary or lesbian or gay, bisexual? No, I was just having a time.
Yeah.
It was San Francisco in the 90s. And right? Like, I don't, why would we have to label
you wouldn't name it. Yeah, you wouldn't label it.
I don't need to name. I didn't need to name it. It served me no utility, and in fact, I think would have done more psychic harm.
Oh my God! Well, that's the thing I don't understand, which is my training has always been that the part of getting to adulthood. You and I were talking about development and how the body develops and stuff, but getting to that point of wholeness includes a cohesive, stable sense of self. The idea that it is constantly changing and fluid. You sort of, in my history, you'd go, well, let's work on that.
Right.
Let's see if we can get to a place where it's a stable identity. You understand who and what you are. Now,
Yes.
and I get it. Maybe it's an advantage to fluid as maybe a stable place of its own, but I worry that it's not always a healthy
It's
place.
not. I think the fluid. What's nice about it, what I admire, is that it does create a space for young people to explore.
Sure.
So, for instance, when I was doing it, I was fortunate enough to be in a city like San Francisco where it was expected that your boyfriend makes out with other guys. It is expected that you might go to a drag thing and make out with a girl that night. That's normal for that culture. So, but had I grown up in like Wyoming and there were no options like that, and I was this queer girl, maybe the fluidity thing on TikTok would have helped me. And I'd be like, oh, that girl's queer? No, what's that? And then, but I think the danger, I mean, you've worked with the mentally ill. Does it help a patient necessarily to know their diagnosis? Like, you're bipolar, you're this and that. The labeling, does it necessarily help or hinder you?
That's a little different because it helps them understand what they're managing,
What's
dealing with,
going
and why
on.
this is happening.
But then doesn't it confine you to
It could.
that thing?
Yeah, it could.
I'm just, but now
No,
I
you
can't
don't.
change my identity. I'm a
Yeah.
lesbian now.
You want to maintain self-efficacy. You're not broken because of it. You're still
Right.
effective. You're
Right.
efficacious. You
Despite
can, yeah,
the
you
thing.
can manage this thing. You can do it. Here's what it is. Learn about it, and then move on.
Right.
Live with it.
That's the utility of naming.
yeah.
Why do we name just chill? Like you're 20. How about we just like chill? 28 is when you're grown
Do you think
up.
that's going to come on your kids' generation? Maybe they'll be chill.
They're so open. Like my 4-year-old wants nail polish and pink nail polish, my guy. And I'm like, all right, like you're like Harry Styles. Like you're this new, he's like somehow.
You must be upset that it's not black or purple.
I am. I kind of was. I was like, are you sure you don't want like blue or blue spiders? He's like, no, Mom, I like pink. I'm like, all right. What am I going to do?
Paint his nails pink.
Yeah,
Who
but he
cares?
still plays with trucks, and it's like,
Isn't that truck thing crazy? You
Well, that's another thing.
You cannot take a truck away from a young male.
No.
When trucks and trains, right?
trains, garbage trucks,
Yes.
garbage cans.
Big equipment.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
Tinkering. And now they're into like their tricycles, like riding bikes, and then 2 of them on one tricycle, and then they fall over, and then the crying begins, and then like the skid, everything. They're violent. They're psychos. Mom, watch me jump off these stairs.
Oh, yeah.
And then jumping off the stairs, I'm like, you're gonna break your leg.
Yeah. Like Mom did.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fucking
Those
idiot.
stairs?
Yeah. I put carpet on them
Oh, good.
because they were like hardwood.
Yeah, they were hardwood when I last went down there. I think it was before you broke your leg. I think you broke your leg after
Drew was
that.
like, you better cover those. I'm like, what are you
Jesus.
talking about?
They're like the sharp edges on those things.
terrible.
All right, let's do some of this show. Let's,
Oh,
shall we?
oh, right.
Enough of our social hour together. Hello, Daddy. His royal hot sauce. I have a question to quote the great. God, they cannot just ask a question. It's about the asshole. Why do sometimes when I take the biggest, hardest, proudest shits, a bout of brown rain follows? My butt will be churning like the high seas.
Yeah.
They have to come with full
Metaphors.
poetry
So
and metaphor.
colorful.
Yeah, after a mammoth turd. It doesn't happen with every big fat log, but it happens once every 9 weeks. Exactly 9 weeks, huh? That's if I don't catch the nasty butt bug. What the fuck is he talking about?
Diarrhea.
I guess so. Okay, touch my camera through the fence. So why does the liquid follow the... This is actually probably constipation.
Sorry, liquid brown? Or I thought he was talking about pee after you shit.
No, he's hot brown rain follows.
Brown rain after making a big
So
log.
what happens after when people are sort of constipated, behind it is some liquidity. That happens.
Why? Yeah.
It just sort of... It just happens.
One of the great mysteries of life.
Yeah, I mean it's not. It's. Let's talk more about brown. Let's keep going.
No, you're right, because my little one will get like little pebbles, constipation, and then after it is like kind of liquid rain.
Yeah. It's just
interesting.
If you can get them on a more regular schedule, then all of it will sort of be more consistent. You know what I'm saying?
Fiber.
Fiber and regular evacuations and things.
Evacuations.
See, we've had, since you were last here, maybe you're here once in the meantime, but we've had huge conversations with Annie about this.
Oh, I know.
Gigantic conversations about brown and how you sit on the toilet.
He doesn't drink water. You've heard that.
He does his thing, man. That's his deal. We also went to a strip club here with him and Susan. Did you hear
I heard. I think all of Austin heard
the Red
news.
Rose. The Red Rose.
The Red Rose.
That was quite a night.
Big fans of the Red Rose.
Yeah.
This Studio James is a big fan of that place. We know a lot of the ladies who work there.
Well, Bert
was
supposed to join me last night at the cigar shop next door.
Oh, yeah?
And he disappeared.
What do you mean he disappeared?
He goes, I'll call you. We'll go do this. And then he just vanished.
Bert.
Several weeks ago, I was on my way to the store exhausted after a graveyard shift. While I was driving, I had a sudden urge to poop.
No.
While holding it in, I felt tingling in my penis and then had a full-on orgasm.
Ugh. You're a disgusting
Why?
man.
Come on now. This guy's magical. On my way back home, the urge to poop went away, but then came back again. Then I had 3 or 4 more sudden orgasms. Wow. The more I held it in, I was horrified. I almost crapped my pants. Never happened before. Could it be a sign of something wrong with my prostate? Yeah. So no, but it is a sign that you probably would like prostate stimulation, because all that back there is pushing against the prostate. The fact that he can have 4 orgasms just from not shitting. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
Thank you for sharing.
Hey, Chomo. Fernando, long time, 26-year-old Hispanic male from Michigan. Brown question. Mm-hmm. Is it possible what you smell can be transferred to your farts or shit? I remember an older Joe Rogan podcast where he said on a bear hunt, he was explaining that cutting open a bear's stomach releases a very putrid smell. Yes. Once while doing this, the hunter's little sister was present but did not eat any of the bear. A few days later, she was kicked out of her classroom because her farts were so bad.
Oh, that correlates. That there's no causal.
No, I don't think
tough.
so. Well, recently on Sickler's podcast, he was interviewing a man who cleaned up after dead bodies and mentioned how would smell decomposing bodies in a shift. Next day, no. So what happens with that's just not a causational link with the girl in the classroom. The smelling putrefaction the next day, that shit gets in your nose.
Yep.
Yeah, I had once.
The molecules stick in your
nose.
They do.
I had a guy with an empyema of the lung. It's his lung filled with pus, and we drained it, and the smell that came out of it was worse. It was not like even a dead body. It was like, I can't describe it. Smelled it for a week afterwards.
Because that's literally the molecules in your nose.
In my nasal passage, yes. I have to poop, and instead I jerk off and hold it in. My calculation, is it possible to press? Yes, we talked about the prostate.
You guys with the brown and the white. Today's like brown and white together.
It's celebrating your return.
Oh,
it's all for you. It's
all for you. Yeah. All for you. So, but I didn't know that brown and white could be so intimately linked in a man's body. This is a pretty high.
They are usually not. That's a pretty dramatic incidence. 21-year-old men stay hydrated, eat normal. A college student, but I find 2 things weird. My yellow often smells like popcorn. Popcorn, Jason.
No.
That's interesting. Also, I struggle to brown in the morning until I eat solid food, sometimes even waiting until lunch to have a good dump. What the fuck? Keep feathering, keep my hind tight, blah, blah, blah.
I love the phrasing. What the fuck? I gotta wait until lunch to take a dump. What the fuck?
So there's something called the gastrocolic reflex. When you put something warm in your stomach, it stimulates the distal part of the colon to bring shit down into the rectum and give you that urge to go. gastrocolic reflex.
Nice.
And if you don't respond to it, it passes.
Yeah.
And stuff gets compacted in there, but you sort of the asshole is not an exact. It's not like a skeletal muscle where you want to pick something up and you do so.
Yeah.
No, it's a little bit of an inexact science. Adam has a very funny story about this. He used to, Jesus Christ, he and his buddies, well, this one buddy, they used to break into the Mulholland Club pool at night, these North Hollywood maniacs, 18-year-olds, and they would go use the jacuzzi, and one of them discovered that if he pushed his asshole up against the jacuzzi jet, he could fill himself up really nicely.
Yes, that's,
And then he would share that with the other people that were in the jacuzzi. He'd walk around and unload.
I swear I must have known the same group of kids in the Valley. There's a kid that did the same thing.
Ray?
And like enema with himself
yes.
on the side of the fucking pool.
Right. And then he would unload it on the women he was trying to impress who were sitting in the jacuzzi right on their head. Yeah.
Oh, that's not the one I knew.
And so one time they decided to share this with the world, so they went through a Jack in the Box drive-through, and the guy opens the window and Ray put his ass up against.
No way.
But because of the inexact science, it didn't come right away. It took a minute before it was produced, and then Adam said the guy at the window just slowly kind of pushed the window closed. Like, what could it hurt to close the window? This guy's asshole's looking at me. I don't know what's going on, but I think I'll close the window.
Smart move.
And then he produced. Yeah. I thought that would make you high.
You like that. Yeah, you can't predict what your asshole's going to do.
Well, and he thinks he can. He thinks he's master of the asshole.
Well, you know, my mother always had good wisdom. She's like, when you feel like you have to shit, go sit down and shit.
Yes.
Because you're right. You have
That's old school stuff.
Yeah, you have a
old
window. You do have a shit window.
Yeah.
And if you ignore that window, you're just in for problems. Like Tom ignores his windows.
Well, I used to too, and now I've got diverticulitis, and it stirs that all up if I don't pay attention. So I got to pay attention. Yeah. That's why out in the desert it was quite a thing. And by the way, and by the way,
shit in special ops?
we were special ops. So we had one shower, shit just stuff dribbling out, and it was just a sort of a booth. And then the toilets were booths. They were and pie tins essentially. And Dwight Howard, who's 6'9", is looking down on Kate Gosling as she changes her tampon or whatever, and just going, Dwight, sorry, it's special ops, man. And
yes, I was going to say it must be difficult for women to exist in that
they
world.
were having trouble. They got constipated and were having trouble,
Well, I mean, even the period management.
They all started together right at the beginning. Fuck. They all timed up. I know.
It's like day one, you don't want to exercise. You don't want to do anything.
It was
tough.
The whole thing was so intense. There is. I will tell you. You'll be happy to know that one of the great headlines of this program when it comes out is that women are fucking tough.
I know.
They're
I believe
fucking tough.
I know.
Little Nastia Lukin, she weighs 95 pounds. She's a gymnast. 35-pound pack, rock, just like everybody else. Didn't say a word. Just
Jesus
boom, out on the trail, running.
Yeah, motherhood does train you for intense suffering, like psychologically,
and you're already
physical.
set up for it. You're already able to tolerate it. I was so impressed. I was like, oh my God, you guys are so
I know. I wonder
tough.
how women got the stigma of like, oh, they're physically weak. Like
Some
we
of it
bear children.
Well, people
the fuck are you talking
people
about?
have actually thought about this.
It's a bizarre stigma.
One of the places it came from was that the maternal fatality rate was like 40% throughout history.
Right.
So women are weak, they die in childbirth. That we got to take care of them because they're going to die if we don't take care of them. And and also they needed to be supported while they were doing the work of mothering, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it became sort of, well, they need we have to, we're stronger. We got to support them, which was a fantasy. And the women are like, yeah, sure, you're stronger. Go, just let me deal with this kid.
Yeah.
Just help me. Yeah.
Well, when you look at wartime women, like people like my grandmother during World War II and all that stuff, when the men were out fighting, like they raised babies alone, had babies alone with midwives.
Speaking of which, I'm glad you brought this up. The excesses of COVID. One of the symbols for me of the excesses of the school closures, because I did a show for a year on a local news channel.
Yes.
Yeah, remember that.
I remember.
And I was there when they decided to close the schools. I'm like, well, who told you to do this? Why are you doing this? It's not, kids don't get, what are you doing? We think it's the right thing to do. Like, okay. When the Ukrainian women were all leaving Ukraine and heading to Poland, right? The men were left behind. The women are running across the border with their children. Reporters are there throwing microphones in their face. And to a person, the women would say the following thing, like, this is terrible. It's awful. The men are behind. My son's back there. But they're fighting. We support them. But these kids have been out of school for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We have to get them back in school right now. In a Polish-speaking school, so too bad. Learn Polish. Yeah. Now, go in.
Yes.
2 weeks, they were in a panic. We did 2 years in Los Angeles.
Isn't that wild? My friend Olga in Ukraine, she's in Kyiv. She went back, and her husband is not even with her yet. But anyway, that's her biggest gripe. The schools are closed in Kyiv, so her kids are not educated. She's like, I don't know what the fuck to do. That's her biggest gripe with me on email.
It's a panic. It's not just a gripe. It's like, we have to do something.
To educate
and so
them,
she's probably working 4 hours a day with the kids, I bet.
Yes, yeah.
Doing stuff,
of course. She's like, I'm not a teacher. I don't know what the fuck. I'm like, I know. We all went through that. But the best part is here in Texas, if someone had COVID last year or this year, literally the principal will be like, hey, y'all, just a heads up. Second grade has a case of COVID. See you tomorrow. Like, they don't even care.
Well, I remember you told me. No, it was, Mike Cathwood lives here now, too.
Oh, he does?
Oh, yeah. They moved out here like a year ago. And we had dinner with them, and his wife was saying, she went to a picnic with the school, and they were laughing. Like, what are you going to do? Close the school? Shut the class down? No. Yeah.
It's insanity.
Yeah, it was insanity.
I mean, the South is like, nah, dude. And Florida was like, nah, dude.
So one of the symptoms of COVID for me that I categorically blame Tom for was the only thing I would look forward to every week was Sunday night to watch 90 Day Fiance. That was how bad COVID was for me. That was the symptom
depressing.
But God damn it, we're still watching that shit. and that's what made me think of that as a bunch of Ukrainian women in this thing now. And I actually interviewed Julia, the Russian girl.
Bring her up. Let me look at her because I don't remember their
Julia,
names.
90 Day Fiance. You'll see her in a second. She was one on the farm that didn't like feeding the pigs and stuff.
She was in a bad place.
But she's in a good place now, and she was lovely to talk to. I interviewed her. There she is. That's her, Treblinka. Whatever.
This poor girl, I know, and that sweet little boy.
Yes.
And she's like, please, can we leave this farm, please? It's terrible.
She's like, yet, no, yet, with the pigs. Yet.
Well, she doesn't want to be a pig farmer. She wanted to come to America and live in the city with her cute boyfriends.
So funny.
And
but anyway,
she
was so, I wanted to get a Russian perspective. And so I interviewed her on my streaming show, and she was lovely. She was like, this is unacceptable just because Putin don't think of Russians this way, please. We are cosmopolitan people. And she just went on and on. She was 2022. It was 2021 then, I think. And she goes, this is not okay. This is, we have strong feelings about this. Please, don't judge. This is a geopolitical problem.
Yes. Well, even in Russia, people are fleeing so that they don't have to join the military. It's just so sad.
Oh, what'd your dad
so
say?
Stupid.
And who was the other one? I also interviewed she was gay for a second, had the girl with the Tutti Frutti hair colors in Australia.
Oh yeah, I remember her. She was lovely.
Stefanika.
She was yeah, something like that. She was very young. I remember she was only like 19 or 20.
Can you look that up for us, Stephanie 90 Fiance or Stefanika?
Look how cute these two are. So did they finally leave the farm?
Yeah.
Oh,
there
thank
she
God.
is.
There she is.
No. Yeah,
cool hair.
They're that's definitely there on the left. Turns out she's like a OnlyFans entrepreneur. Yeah. Like she has a whole world of sort of OnlyFans-y kind of stuff. So
listen, I judged OnlyFans until we took a deep dive on it, and can be pretty innocuous, ridiculous, and it's like Instagram photos basically that these bitches are like, come to my OnlyFans, but then they're just like cute like pictures of them in their outfits and stuff.
In like their like underwear.
Guys,
kind of
am I right here? Give me any.
Well, it depends on the person. Josh? Like a lot of the celebrities, though, don't really show too much that we've looked at on the shows.
Yeah, they kind of punk you. They're like, come see this outrageous thing. And you're like, that's your Instagram photo, dude. Like we took a dive on Bad Baby when hers debuted.
I think you and Susan need to come up with one because why not?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm a mother. And
so what?
They're going to
So's Britney Spears. You seen her lately?
Well, she's different. Britney's built what is it, bipolar? She's bipolar?
Yeah.
She's not taking her meds, huh?
No.
Because no one's making her.
Right.
How soon before that collapses?
It's going to take a while, but it's
imminent.
concerning. It's concerning.
What's going to happen? Will the law get involved?
It depends how far down she goes. Because I have a feeling, I don't know, I've never seen her, don't know anything, but I have a sense that, and by the way, Jamie Lynn, who is her sister, is now a dear friend of mine from being in the desert with her. And she's just mom. That's her deal, mom. And she's got, her husband's owns a trucking company. He's a dock owner. They're just straight people.
Yeah.
I never have discussed anything about Brittany with the sister. Nor do I ever intend to, because it's none of my business.
Cares?
Yeah. But my sense is that maybe there were some substances involved back when she really decompensated. And if that doesn't get involved, she might kind of be okay. You know what I mean? She might sort of trundle along. And as I've said forever, go even the streets here of Austin, there are people that need conservatorships more than Britney Spears.
Oh, for
Lots
sure.
of them, right? So
you know, I was because I just, like I said, we were talking. Tim Dillon and I did his podcast yesterday. That's why I keep bringing him up. And his mother is schizophrenic, as well as mine was schizophrenic.
She was not. She was borderline.
And then descended into schizophrenia.
Well, do you know
delusional.
do you know where the term borderline comes from?
The Madonna song.
No.
Feels like I'm gone.
Why? No. It's a formal diagnosis, borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
And it was originally, the reason it was borderline, it was called borderline psychotic.
Yeah, so she went psychotic.
Because they sometimes become psychotic.
She did.
Yeah. So that's sort of her.
She did. But when you look back, we were talking about how it never gets any better.
What
like
does?
Schizophrenia and the delusional and the psychotic stuff.
Well, you know, it can if it's properly treated, but the problem is getting people to cooperate with treatment. You can't. There's no leverage.
So Tim was saying that his mom is institutionalized, and he's like, it's the only way to do it because she's yelling at orderlies and she
needs custodial care.
To be,
she needs that care. She's better in custodial care.
Yes,
and by the way, they can thrive in custodial care sometimes. I took care. I had lots of long-term patients over the years. In a facility where I worked, there was a whole long-term unit, and they were happy. They were fine. They go on passes. They do stuff.
Yeah, and my mom had a system where she wouldn't leave the house, but she had like people checking in on her constantly. You know,
caretakers.
Yes, and I wish she had
social workers.
Yes.
How did that happen? Did she end up hospitalized or something, and then they found her? Yeah.
So I'm assuming, like, had she been put away, like, had I actually really known the depths of what was going on, I think I would have just been like, yeah, put her in a home, like, get her contained.
What was going on? You said something about the boarding up the windows and stuff.
Yeah. So by the time she had passed, it was like severe shut-in behavior. Like she hadn't left the house.
But some of that, what happens is you get a little dementia kicking in, and then the psychotic stuff gets worse.
Yeah.
So it might have been like a little dementia on top of the borderline.
She was keeping tabs on stuff. Like she would highlight instruction manuals to microwaves and Bible verses. She was getting into the Bible stuff. And then, she would print out pictures of Tom, like with his arm around fans. And I know what she was doing. She was constructing a case against him. Like he was cheating on me, like to show me look evidence of your husband, whatever. Like she was
Mom,
paranoid.
I've got a tracking device on this man. I know where he is every second. What are we talking about?
I mean, the internet. Yeah. Like just what are you talking about? Anyway. Yeah. But Tim was advocating for putting people in places where they can get proper care, not the streets. You can't do that.
Yeah. Well, we destroyed the state hospital system. That's what that was. And indeed, some of it was shitty. Some of it was good. We need a better institutional system for custodial care, the people that really need it.
Yeah, because it can be compassionate. I think people...
I'm telling you it is. I'm telling you. And by the way, included in custodial care could be a graduated program where you get people out into the world of vocational rehab and stuff if they're able to do that, if they're able to move through it. It's so awful. I think
the view is that it's just inherently you're holding them back. You're being cruel.
My God, they die otherwise. They progress.
I know.
And by the way, back to schizophrenia, what I was saying was if you treat them early, they don't progress as much. If you don't treat them, they progress to terrible, terrible deteriorated states. Like they completely, and you can't get them back. If you get them early, you can work with it. You can do stuff.
I know.
Back to leading a good life. Where we started this conversation, the relationship is a critical part of that. I'm so grateful that Susan and I are as happy as we are.
Yes.
I wish that on you in 20 more years.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
It's a goofy, crazy thing when you have it.
But let's talk about the havoc that children wreak on a marriage because you're in triage the first few years.
You have to both be in equally committed to the survival mode you're in and realize everything's on hold. You're doing a project together.
Yeah.
And you do the best you can to like go out and do stuff and still fuck and whatever else. But it's not, it gets better later, I promise. It gets better, but make sure you pay attention to your hormones. Susan has talked about it on this show at length. Her stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, so people can look back at her previous experiences here on this show where she talks about her hormones.
Yes, because I'm reaching all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you got to stay on top of it.
I am.
Talk to your friend Susan about it.
I am.
Makes a big difference.
I have an appointment. I'm going to go see somebody here.
Oh, good.
To deal with that.
Because you're peri. You're in the peri phase.
I'm in perimenopause.
And
how sexy.
Well, it is because women are no one pays enough attention to it because it fucks with your mood and your stamina and everything else, and you should feel better.
I know it is like this quiet thing discussed in hushed tones.
It's ignored.
And so but what's great about social media now is I can click on these women I've grown up with, like Paulina or Isabella Rossellini, and like learn about stages of life and go, oh, that's how it doesn't have to be like the scary stigma.
Is Paulina in a relationship right now?
I don't think so.
I feel like when she had her and Rico Kasich were hard to understand. Like she loved him, but they were apart. Like what? Why were you together if it's so? I don't know.
They were apart before they divorced for a long time.
All I know is that they were like. She sort of idolized him in some way, and she talks about him in great glory term. But they seem like they had no shitty relationship. I don't know.
I don't know the details of that. I don't know. It's a mystery.
Let me show you a couple I admire.
Yes,
this is a couple that made me laugh. I actually interviewed this couple too. This is we called them the gag couple. Have you seen the gag couple? We thought you might enjoy them. So here they are.
Hey, Laura.
Oh, I don't like this couple. I know this couple. I don't like it. You fucking know.
So good.
You fucking know, you fuckers.
All right, don't play it
You
for her.
fucking know.
She's so good. She's in on the joke. She loves it.
I know she does. And
She doesn't actually vomit.
they're friends of the show.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, my phobia of vomiting.
But she doesn't vomit.
I know, but even the gag sound, I don't like.
Okay. I didn't
Dr.
know
Drew,
that. I didn't know
help
that.
me.
I didn't know that.
What can I do for my phobia? I've
Well,
done.
you can have your friends not bring the shit up to you. I didn't know.
No, they love it.
I
That's the
didn't know.
torturing.
I
Look
don't
how
like
happy.
torturing.
Chris Larson never smiles. You can see all of his teeth
you're
right now.
That's
He's so
crazy.
thrilled.
He's like, can't stop laughing. It's kind of weird.
Finally, they get to torture
No,
mommy.
I don't like torturing you. I don't. I didn't know that was going to torture you. I thought you'd laugh at it because you shared a similar kind of a
No.
thing.
Should I go to immersion therapy?
No, I mean that's how you would deal with it, is with sort of exposure, right? And they're so funny. He is like 6'5", right? And the part of what cracks me up so much about him is his glee at doing this.
You don't
he's
like
so
to torture
gleeful.
Susan?
It's the same thing as like pulling pigtails when you're 8. It's the same impulse. It's this weird little impulse.
See, Annie and I share. We like to do this. Like whenever I come in, I'll sing a stupid song, like "Suck on my dick, boy," and then he'll like chime in because he and I have the same childish glee of pulling ponytails. So I think you're either the person that likes to pull and have silly, or you're the one that is like, no, don't fuck with me.
Well,
you're either the receiver or the
I found
giver.
your limit. I did not know that's where the limit was.
Oh, that's the only thing I really can't do.
Well, I know you were not a vomit thing. I mean, and by the way, how did you deal with that live show where there was all that vomit?
I don't watch it. I don't watch it.
We were driving the 2 live shows ago. Remember that one?
Yes.
That was beyond.
I don't like it.
And Susan said she was so disgusted it made her tits hurt.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I'm impressed.
My tits hurt. Wait, so you don't needle Susan? She needles you? Does she like to mess with you?
Oh, I needle her.
You're the fun.
Yeah,
one.
yeah. And mostly me fucking with her. But the problem is, ladies, if you laugh, it goes on.
I know.
You know, like you just did the right thing. Was like, fuck this, I'm out. Okay, that will not happen. That will not do that anymore. But I like telling her to do I don't want her to do terrible things to me, but I like asking her to do terrible things because it freaks her out so badly.
Like what? Like
I brought it up in the last time she was here. I told her to fart in my face, and she was like, ah! I was like, but laughed.
Yeah.
And if you laugh, there's more coming.
Yeah.
It's coming back to that.
I
don't want her to fart in my face.
Yeah, no, it's just
I want to see her
funny.
react to me saying that.
Yeah, I just asked Rob Eiler the other day. I was like, do you think you would transition to be a woman for me just so I could see what you would look like? But then you go back.
I would do it for you.
Would you transition?
I would do it for you, yes.
Really?
I told you I'd wear a diaper for you. Remember that?
Hold on. You're telling me.
Well, how far would I have to go? Do I have to have my nuts taken off?
No. I want you to take
just
estrogen. Like, would you just take estrogen to raise your voice and grow tits?
No, thank you.
Well,
No.
are
I
we
thought you meant
friends?
like dresses. I know I'm not, because I would get medical problems. I would. So
That prostate cancer would just
it would
flare
go
right.
away. But I would get gynecomastia and thromboembolic disease and shit. I get liver disease. I know it. I know I get shit from
With that, okay, so what happens if I decide to transition and I start taking testosterone? What can I expect as I transition?
Well,
1 year on T. I'm going to make just for my TikToks.
well, you're going to get some tea as part of your perimenopausal stuff.
I've heard.
Yeah, it's helpful.
So, but what happens when I start taking like the transitional dose? Like, do my tits just shrink up?
Not necessarily. You can, if you have, is your dad bald?
No.
Okay, so you can get male pattern balding if your dad's bald. So, number one. Number two, your clitoris will get rather large.
Oh, because I'll grow a peener.
It just in swells. It just bigger.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
You get some hair all over the place, more hair. In your nose especially, you get more black hairs out of your nose and stuff.
Ew.
I like this. It's so fun.
Yeah,
You're like, ooh.
being a guy is so gross.
Your voice deepens, as you know.
That's the part I'm
Yes.
really excited about. I can finally live my dream identity.
You sound like that chick with
Vera DeMilo.
You sound like, what's her name, with the blood, that chick that became a billionaire for 2 minutes and lost everything.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
She's the one. She's like,
What's her name?
what's her? Elizabeth something.
Elizabeth Holmes, I think.
Holmes, yes,
She's like,
thank you.
with a simple test, you can find out your entire blood panel.
You know how stupid that fucking was?
She was great.
The difference between doing this and doing this is nothing.
And
Who
her,
cares?
oh, I know that's a good point. Like you're still
It's
getting
the same blood
poked.
test. It was not. They were not offering anything unusual. It's just a different
Amount of blood.
a different delivery system. And you know, I could stick a needle in you in 2 seconds, get the blood, no big deal. I don't.
That's
finger
if you're-
stick.
if
By the
you're
way,
good
finger
at
sticks
it.
hurt more.
I know.
They hurt more.
But sometimes they take vial after vial. And
So
you're like,
what?
why do you need 5 fucking tubes, dude?
It's
It's
the-
an
what-
emotional problem.
Yeah, it's what the lab requires. But back to your transition, so you get more
Chris.
sexually driven. You get
Yeah,
more,
that's
just
cool.
Sort of,
I like that.
You'll get more sort of male-esque in some of your.
When do I lose my menses? What happens to my ovaries and my period?
Again, if you're going all the way,
I'm going all the way.
Perimenopausal treatment or going a transition?
No, I'm
You wanna
transitioning to a
transition.
man.
Okay, sorry. It's like,
I'm
okay.
finally going to be the person I want to be.
I think that would probably. I don't know. Actually, that probably stop. I don't know.
Like
if I-
probably quickly, yeah. Like
well, but you're still producing estrogen, and testosterone kind of the testosterone gets converted to estrogen, and it also gets converted to some progesterone effects can suppress ovulation. So I'm not really sure what happened with that. It's interesting. You may have to. I'm sure there's people that are expert in this that know exactly what has to be done.
oh, there's guys out
Yeah.
there that will tell you the right pills to take.
So I people don't understand the same people that are now going to be dependent on pills their whole life with unknown long-term effects are the people who take aim at pharma. Like
Aim at pharma.
Well, in other words, they hate big pharma, but they're going to be
Oh.
wedded to these meds their whole life. It's like,
know. It is such a scam. They're pill pushing on you. Oh, you feel like you're just more. Oh, take a pill. Just take the pills. Take the pills. Take the pills. It's like, dude, when are we going to learn that take the pills is not the way to deal with
it's only
everything?
when the risk is worth it.
Right.
When whatever is being treated is more dangerous than the potential adverse effect of the
Ooh,
pills.
let's talk about Lexapro. Am I gonna fuck up my brain?
Are you taking it?
I take it every day.
How long have you been on it?
3 years.
Oh, that's fine. It's a very mild one.
Do I have to like get off of it at some point? Because I don't wanna. What's it gonna do to me long term?
Probably when you get on that testosterone, you're going to find you don't need the Lexapro. I swear to God.
Oh, I thought you meant when I transition.
Oh, when you transition, well, there's a lot of euphoria associated with the high levels of testosterone. The young ladies like that.
Yeah.
It does affect their mood a lot. Makes them high.
Oh, which it could be that aggressive and
Well, so
fit
Susan,
and strong.
she will talk about this too. She was, told she had depression for a long time and was on various antidepressants, never really felt better. Got on testosterone.
And she was like, bada bing.
Instantly better.
I'm not a depressive. I'm more anxious. I don't even feel the feeling. I go straight to anxiety.
Yeah, well, that's my deal. Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, I just like to get real fired up.
Are you still in therapy?
Oh, every week.
Yeah.
Hello, are
But
you?
I'm out now, but I think about going into analysis, like go do psychoanalysis. That'd be
Do
fun.
it. If you have the time,
I know. It's
I would
time and expense.
I
Maybe
would
someday.
do it. It's like 2 times a week.
Yeah, the
You
only
gotta go.
the only reason I don't jump at it, because I think it'd be fascinating to go through it. A lot of the people that I've seen who've gone through psychoanalysis, I don't like them.
Really?
They're like, yeah, they're a little too. I don't know. It's not like
What's
they're.
They're too
Well, a
self-aware.
lot of them, the psychoanalysts that owned the American psychiatric landscape during the mid 20th century fucked everything up. They thought they knew everything, and they don't. It's a lack of humility, I'd say. With sort of, I don't like that. But we get another video
I
out
like
there.
that.
What's our plates? What is that? And do you have any of Christina's TikToks loaded up?
Here, let me show you these art plates.
I was getting concerned about you when you were sending us kittens on surfboards and shit. I was like, what's wrong with Christina?
I just respond to the algorithm, and it's like that was in the zeitgeist. For some reason, people were making those.
It scared me.
It really is. I just go with the flow, man.
All right, man.
I don't dictate it. I just report the news.
Okay,
So
all right.
you know what I'm saying?
So what is this?
Drivers who've experienced trauma are being encouraged to let others know when they're ready to return to the roads. The R Plates initiative will
you seen this?
signify to other motorists the person behind the wheel may need a little extra care.
When you start to drive, you get your L's.
Oh.
Then you graduate to your P's. But what about
Perfect.
these? An R for return. These plastic plates are a way to let the world know
Return.
you need some
No.
extra room and love and attention.
So it's
after
L for loser,
experiencing
P
a
for
traumatic
pussy, R
incident.
for R words.
Michael, this car needs a bit of extra care.
I'm fully retarded. I love the show Bluey. Do you watch Bluey?
What's that?
It's a cartoon my kid loves because they're Australian. I'm returning to driving because I'm
Is that
retarded.
Australian? It's all Australian stuff?
Yeah. They're so cute.
Do you have any Christina TikToks just so I can sort of measure her temperature and make sure she's okay?
Yeah, let me grab some
Thank
for
you.
you.
I'm in a really weird place with TikTok. It's
You used to send me these great, really brilliant women with beards and things. And that was kind of challenging and fun.
you need to get on my stories because that's really where I do my best work these days, the dark work.
Oh,
Well, right now it's people with awful exotic pets, like Russian oligarchs with leopards in their living
the
rooms.
dark arts.
Yeah, it's so dark. I found one yesterday of a guy who's like, you don't want to touch this snake. It'll bite you. It's like a huge python and it's biting his bicep and
Oh my
everything.
God.
Like animal weirdos are really my jam right now.
Animal weirdos. They're all men, too. It's not a women's thing.
Oh, and then there's this girl. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This kind of shit where she's like, look at you. Aren't you adorable? Idiot.
Take the hand off.
Yeah.
Big yawn.
Oh, I think I've seen this woman.
Just teeth.
Yeah, I've seen her occasionally.
Wow, Timber.
Timba.
Big teeth. And
Did you ever see the movie Roar? Mm-mm. Oh, honey. I don't know if you can pull this up. Look up Roar trailer. I believe it's common use. Tippi Hedren.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she has
love
all
Tippi.
that on her. She collects
You
cats and
told me
things.
that.
Yeah,
It's
and they filmed a
crazy.
movie about her cats. There it is, Roar trailer.
Oh, my God.
Look at this. Just watch for a second. If you like the animal stuff, you're going to love this. So, for over a decade, Noel Marshall, Tippi Hedren, and their family lived with 150 wild animals. And they created what became the most dangerous movie ever made. Look at this.
I mean, it's crazy.
They were just filmed it amongst their wild animals.
It's just like
Tippy.
life, the funny with the tragic.
No animals were harmed during the making of this film. 70 members of
Hitchcock.
the cast and crew were.
Yeah.
70 people
Yeah. Oh,
were
shit.
destroyed during. Look at this. Can you imagine this? Melanie Griffith. Look at this.
Dude, that got his face, bro.
I know it. Melanie Griffith, who's Tippi Hedren's daughter,
I didn't know that.
ended up with 300 stitches or something like that from one of these being bit by these animals. The only guy that was not hurt was the black guy. He was African, and he was like, "What the hell is wrong with you people? These are wild animals."
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, you can turn this
So there you go.
down.
It's enough. We get the message. Here.
That is, I think Tippy got scared, but Hitchcock messed her up.
But but isn't
I'm
this,
not
you
into
don't like
this.
this?
This is, you know what? Here's what I do like, because now I'm into Isabella Rossellini's Instagram, is that she has a farm in upstate New York. And I like the idea of like farm animals that want you to hang out with them. Like she'll take a ride on her little bike and the goats follow her.
Oh, yeah.
That's the lady I want to be in 20 years. That's psychotic. This is fucking psychotic. These people have no respect for wildlife. Like, are you this delusional? You've never been fucked up by an animal?
Well, this is this weird notion that we have in this country that you just love them. And you love them. And if you show them love, this is what happens. I see this all the time with people adopting children, like Romanian orphans and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
With attachment disorders.
Yes, severe problems.
You know, and they're like, we'll just love them. They'll be fine. It's like, no. If you're lucky, but not usually.
No, they've got severe. I had a philosophy professor, the sweetest, kindest, humanist, if that's a word.
Yeah.
He adopted a girl from like Serbia or something, and she came with
Serbia?
Some shit. I don't remember where. Like she came with so many issues. Like she'd clearly been sexually molested and just abused, and so she was she would like sit on his lap inappropriately and stuff. And he had 2 other kids, so he's like, I cannot. We can't do this. This is not responsible. Unfortunately. I mean,
that's the bad part.
What do
People
you
give
do?
them back. I've seen that happen a lot. To me, that kills me.
But then, do you screw up your own 2 kids? Because that's going to fuck up the family dynamic. So
give me a voice message just so we can run the cycle here.
Run the cycle. When I come, I shit.
Oh yeah,
and then I piss on my shit. Is that normal?
Dear Christina.
Hey, Dr. Drew and the Booth Boys. This is DJ calling from Cali. Calling because sometimes when I eat spicy foods or I
come hard.
too much bread, I start blowing butt boogers.
And
what I mean by the butt boogers is there's just like not a lot of actual poop, just a lot of gas and a lot of mucus.
Okay.
And it feels like just like fucking snot's coming out of my asshole. So
that's essentially what's happening. Okay, that is what
it's
help me figure out how to not
eat the damn. All right.
It's anal mucus, right?
It's mucus. Don't eat the spicy foods that irritate your anus, your rectum, and give you the mucus, which is an inflammatory thing. So, like, when your nose runs, that's because it's inflamed and shit comes out.
But okay, granted, yes, that's a good thing. But what if one day you're like, I gotta have that penne curry. I gotta have it. So what can you do Is there something you can take preemptively?
It's not a bad idea. You could try. It may not help, but you can try some Gaviscon ahead of time.
Gaviscon.
And then some psyllium husk. And maybe after some Metamucil, essentially.
But won't that make you gassier? That stuff makes me fart hard.
Sometimes they go that way. But the calcium carbonate sort of helps.
Can I ask you?
Yeah,
how come sometimes?
Please ask me.
Sometimes when I have to brown, and the brown won't come down, but the mucus will come out. Am I just pushing too hard?
Probably.
And the brown's not ready, and
brown's not ready. But the mucus kind of needs to come out too, so it's okay that you.
Oh, it does.
Not everybody produces mucus, by the way. You're very talented. I'm so happy to hear you.
Really?
Do. Yeah.
Not everybody produces anal mucus.
Not everybody.
Is that the next shirt we're gonna make? Do you produce anal mucus? Do you produce anal mucus?
I don't. But
Do you know
we need
Susan
some sort of
does?
cup with you and your anal mucus. Another thing. Speaking of women and anuses, we've noticed something since you were last year. Also, that women have a very special way of saying the word butthole.
My butthole.
They don't pronounce the T. It's
butthole.
Butthole.
That's so true.
You got a female lined up for me? I'm sure she'll have some butthole comment for us.
Butthole.
And by the way, the women voice messages are
they're
the best.
They're exceptional. If you're a woman and you're into studio jeans, you're an exceptional female. You really are.
Maybe that's what it is.
You're exceptional because
I tell you, when I first was on your show, a woman tackled me at a MTV Video Movie Awards, and I was like, "Whoa, this is who's listening, huh?"
Oh yeah,
interesting.
They're the coolest motherfuckers. Like, there's no squares that listen.
And they're
rad.
They have a weird preoccupation with the 4 of us: you, me, Tom, and Susan. They're like, "No, what is on with your relationships? How do you guys get? What you go to dinner? What?" I'm like,
"Oh, meaning like how we socialize or how we maintain our."
Figure out these relationships. They just can't figure them out because Susan and Tom kind of invented me being here, the 2 of them talking, and then you and I are here, and we all kind of socialize. It's I guess it's odd for people. I don't know.
But
they can't. But it's all they can't. They only see this part of it.
Yeah.
So they want to know what more is going on. I guess.
That's funny.
Isn't that interesting?
I think that's interesting. I like it when you guys come over and you guys kind of get to laugh at me and my horrible children. And,
It's not, your children are amazing.
No, they're amazing. I mean, horribly behaved because it's always when there's company.
Are you
and you're
fucking
like,
kidding me? We had triplets. Are you kidding me? Here's how our kids behave. We set up corrals and put mats down and threw them in. That was our parenting for when they were your kids' age. So no. It's you expect some of that.
Yeah.
So got a female for me?
Butthole.
Hi, Dr. Mommy. I'm just calling to see if I could get some advice from you. It's kind of about anal after 50. So I just got married recently.
Anal after 50.
And I would like to try to play around with my husband anally, and he has expressed interest in it, but I think he's just nervous.
I want to fuck with you.
The sensation we have tried a couple times with a finger or just like tongue, but he just seems a little bit like scared or hesitant. So my, I guess, question is, what is some things that I can do to help him maybe feel more comfortable, or something
I like there's a
that
question mark around
maybe
every state.
your wife did to you that was pleasing? I don't know. I would just love some advice.
May I say?
And of course,
sorry.
Got to keep it 100% with the communication line. So thank you. I love your show. Piss on me, beat me.
Piss on me,
now.
beat me.
Bye.
Come in my mouth? What's that one?
No, home here now.
Oh,
right?
home here
Piss
now.
on me, beat me.
Okay.
Home here now.
Home here now.
Yeah, that's a
Do the
female
classics.
thing to do not make a statement. I learned that very early listening to male comics and listening to Margaret Thatcher in her biography. She actually lowered the register of her voice so as not to agitate the men in Parliament.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a thing.
As opposed, so it feels like she's sort of apologizing for each of her statements.
Right. It's very
It's
hesitant and reticent. Yeah. So you want to be more declarative in your statements.
And sort of actually, rather than going up at the end, it's actually better to go down at the end. Like
absolutely.
Yes, I want him to fuck me in the ass.
Yes, and when I transition to a man and that tea gets cooking in my voice
You won't
too,
even you'll automatically do that.
everything I say will be a demand. Like, you're gonna suck this dick. The world is gonna suck my mom dick. I can't wait to be powerful. I'll forget this female tentativeness. So how can she make her man?
The bottom line is encourage him. Let him know that. Don't apologize. Let him know there's really something you really, really, really want to do. He'll be good. They always advise putting something in first. Maybe not just a finger, but maybe anal plugs, maybe a dildo, some small stuff in first. Lots of lube. If he's really uncomfortable, maybe a condom, and off you go. You're not into it, huh?
It's so horrifying. I think I have too many gay man friends, and I've heard enough stories over the years of just dudes shitting on each other, and you know what? I think caca is so messy. I prefer vagina plays.
Well, I do too, but you can take an enema beforehand, a little
that
fleece
sounds
or
fun.
something.
Yeah,
you
just
can do it.
put water.
I mean, she wants it for some reason. It may be because he's pushing. You can never tell. Is it because she wants? Because the guy's like, let's do this, and she wants to make him happy, or is it something she wants to do? I don't know. But either way, enema, objects, smaller objects, lots of lube. Condoms, maybe if he's uncomfortable,
and mucus too.
And
really get into that.
Mucus though is good. Helps, right?
It's nature's lubricant for butt sex.
So
isn't that what the mucus is for?
Butthole. So to finish things up, how shall we look forward to the rational revolution from this day forward?
Move to Texas and spend more time in the Midwest and South. Honestly, and I mean this, Drew, is that when you go to quote regular parts of America, meaning not LA, New York, and the coasts. Everyone else is more or less on board.
But I'm still looking at social media and all the horrible bullshit that goes on.
But what idiots are those? Those are the minority. I really believe when you start talking to regular folks that they're not into this shit. At least in my community, I roll regular, homie. I'm not hanging out with celebrities out
you
here.
have a book club.
I have a fucking women's book club.
How is it? What are you guys reading now?
It's we're voting right now. It's a good thing you brought that up. But on my walks, I find out the gossip in the neighborhood and who's doing what work in their house, and they're installing an elevator. Get out of town, Susan. Everybody is telling me their goss. It's it's the fucking best. It's the best. But I think that anybody that's a fucking winner. I mean, again, I'm not in touch with 20-year-olds. Maybe that's the vibe. I'm in touch with adults.
Yeah.
And adults who have families and work. are like, yeah, no, let's keep doing normal life.
Yeah,
like,
keep the priorities straight.
What are you doing?
Speaking of which, Susan wants some of your lipstick. She loves your lipstick.
I'll give her one right now. My Christina P's Perfect Red. Get it right now. ChristinaPOnline.com. It's selling like hotcakes. We've reordered it already a few times. It comes from Italy.
She noticed it.
It is. It's amazing how it's taken off and women love it. Thank you so much for everybody that's bought it. Get it for your lady for Christmas, for your non-binary friends, for your husband. Do you like lipstick too? You sing opera?
I guess I would if I were, getting made up for, some crazy, what's the crazy musical about the Japan?
Your kabuki.
Yeah, sort of kabuki-esque.
Like Farewell My Valentine, Farewell My Concubine. Can you sing like that?
No.
That's how they sing in the Asian.
I know, but not this one.
Japanese.
Look up Puccini, Emperor, Empress.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I know. It's the one that the butterfly, Madame Butterfly.
No, not Madame Butterfly. No, but that's another one. I'd look kabuki up for that. This is bigger. Puccini, Empress.
Empress Pavilion.
No. Oh wait, go down. Turandot.
Turandot.
Yeah.
I remember Turandot.
That's a heavy opera.
It's depressing. Turandot.
I got it, but it is the one. It's got that Nessun Dorma that Pavarotti used to always sing. Nessun Dorma, Nessun Dorma.
I got to get on this testosterone.
Me too. I think I do too.
Let's transition together.
How about I just go to my gender?
Yeah,
How about I just go to my proper gender? I know. Look, one thing about you and I is I always strive to abject honesty in your presence, and so
I love you, buddy. That's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
There's no other way to be.
And amazingly, there's still more to be revealed when you ask the right questions about.
Listen, I think you're one of the most interesting people I'm friends with, and I'm so blessed that you're in this world. It's just amazing, and I love you, and I love Susan.
We love you too, and we know we feel exactly the same way. We're so grateful. It's been this big surprise that we didn't see coming, and it really was Susan and Tom talking where it sort of came from. Yeah. And I was like, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, I just never forget. We went to dinner at that place in Toluca Lake or something. Where we were in like.
Oh yeah. That was so random.
No, we were in the other lake.
Pasadena.
No.
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake. We're in Silver Lake. And Tom's like going, it's going to be called Dr. Drew After Dark? Like, you sure that's what you want to do? And I'm like, that's what we came up with. And he's like, okay, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. And now
there it is. And now there's going to be billboards in Los Angeles. So.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Crazy.
It's so fun. And it's the interwebs. And I hope it goes forever and ever.
And back to your comment about your mom's house world. What a great audience.
I know.
Beyond.
We're so lucky.
I know.
They're cool as shit. Every time I do shows, the staff is like, your audience is the best. They're not assholes. They're just like regular, nice, normal people who tip well.
That was the last time we saw you. Was at the Paramount or something with the theaters downtown here.
Oh, in Austin, yeah.
Yeah, when it had the big comedy festival. It was like June or something.
It's been a long year. Yeah, all right. I love you.
I love you too. And we'll see you all next time.
All conversations and information exchanged during participation in the Dr. Drew After Dark podcast or interaction on the drdrew.com website is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not confuse this with treatment or physician medical advice or direction per se. You must always follow your medical professional's advice and direction. Nothing on these podcasts or posted on this site supplements or supersedes the relationship and direction of your medical caretakers. Please understand, I am not playing the role of physician in this environment per se. I'm educating. I am a licensed physician with specialty boards in American Board of Internal Medicine and American Board of Addiction Medicine.